Welcome. This is Everyday Paradoxes Tiny Truths About Becoming, a 16-part audio series based on my book. These are reflections on the quiet contradictions that shape our growth. I'm Leslie DeMello. In each episode, we'll sit with one small truth from ordinary life, where psychology meets contemplation and insight becomes practice. Let's begin. Chapter 14. Let life happen through you, not to you. So, before we go a little bit deeper, I want to offer you a very simple lens. There are different ways we relate to life, and many of us move between these ways, move between these paths before without even realizing it. The first one is life happens to me. When we are at this stage, life feels very external and overpowering. The events happening feel random, they feel unfair, and they feel personal. And we may not say it out loud, but inside us, there's this quiet refrain that keeps happening. Why does this keep happening? Why me? What did I do to deserve this? There's a sense of separation. Life is out there, and I'm here just trying to survive it. And our body is always tight, our heart is always bracing, and every day is a struggle, every day is exhausting. So that's life happens to me. Then there's the stage where life happens by me. In this stage, we start to take personal responsibility. We realize that my choices matter, I can influence outcomes, and I can respond differently. And this stage, life happens by me. This is a very powerful stage because it restores agency, it builds maturity. But sometimes it can turn into hyper control. I must do this perfectly. I must manage everything correctly. If something goes wrong, it must be my fault. And there's a possibility that from victimhood, we move into over responsibility. We are still bracing in this phase, we are still bracing. Life happens by me. We are still bracing, but we are doing it a bit more competently. And then the next phase is a softer shift. Life happens through me. And in this stage, or rather, something relaxes. We stop fighting life, we stop trying to master it, and we begin participating in it. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We begin to ask, what is this that's moving through me? What wants to unfold here? How can I join this moment instead of resisting it? And in this phase, there's a collaboration with life. There's less force, there's more listening, there's less gripping, there's more trust. Life is no more an opponent, but it becomes like a movement. And then there's the deepest level. And there are very few people who actually get to this level, the deepest level. Life is me. We realize that life isn't separate from us. In the same way as a wave realizes the ocean, we live in we live in that mindset where there's no to, there's no by, there's no true, there's just life expressing itself. And for tonight, rather for this event, we will be exploring a part of these phases, from life is happening to me to life is happening through me. And we'll be doing this not by forcing surrender, and definitely not by pretending that pain isn't real, but by softening the posture of resistance and remembering that we are not fighting life, but we are simply a part of it. Because when this realization settles in the body, there's something in us that starts to breathe again. There was this story about someone standing in a river and they're trying to stop the current. They planted their feet firmly, they tightened their muscles, and they pushed the water with everything they had. And by the end of the day, they were exhausted. Someone watching from the shore, they asked them, "Why are you fighting the river?" And they replied, "I don't want it to take me somewhere that I didn't choose." The person on the shore, he smiled gently and said, "It's already taking you somewhere. The question is, are you going to move with it, or are you going to waste your time fighting against it?" For much of my life, I was standing in the river. I was standing in that river. I was trying to brace, I was trying to outsmart the current. I was trying to control the direction of something that's far bigger than me, although I could not see that yet. And then one day, something softened. One day, something changed. As I kept doing the work, a transformation took place. And I realized that life isn't happening to me. It's not meant to happen to me, but rather, life is happening through me. Most of us, we do not walk around thinking out loud that I'm a victim. In fact, on the outside, we look very capable, strong, independent, resilient. But inside, in our mind, there's this quiet refrain that's running in the background, and it's kind of running all the time. Why did this happen? Why does this keep happening? Why me? And it's very subtle, but it's there. A plan falls apart, and instead of adjusting, we feel personally betrayed. Someone changes their mind about something, and to us, it feels like rejection. An opportunity suddenly disappears, and immediately we start questioning our self worth. Ironically, even when good things happen, there can be tension. You finally feel happy, and a small voice whispers, "Don't relax, this won't last." You feel connected to someone, and then you're bracing for that shift. Or you experience success, and immediately you start to worry about losing it. So instead of relaxing into life, we are bracing against it. It's kind of like living with our shoulders lifted all the time, like as if our nervous system is quietly preparing for impact. And the exhausting part is that life doesn't stop moving. It keeps changing. People keep evolving. Seasons keep turning. So when we live from the subtle why me lens, what we are doing is we are continuously negotiating with reality. We are trying to predict it, we are trying to manage it, and we are trying to protect ourselves from it. And that posture, that continuous bracing, it becomes tiring because we are treating life like an opponent. And maybe life wasn't meant to be fought, or life isn't meant to be fought in the first place. Resisting the current, resisting life. Tell me how many of you all might recognize it from these examples. We try to micromanage how things unfold. We want to make sure every detail of our plan lines up so that nothing goes wrong. When something unexpected happens, it just doesn't feel inconvenient. It feels personal. Why is this happening to me? Like as if life has singled you out. When change shows up, the first thing we do is we wonder, what did I do wrong? Instead of simply seeing it as change. We replay moments in our head, thinking about what we could have said differently, what we should have anticipated, how we might have prevented a certain shift from happening. And when things don't go according to our plan, our body tightens, our jaw clenches, our breath shortens. And it's not dramatic, it's very subtle. It happens very subtly. The good part of it is that none of this makes us weak. This is one of the features or bugs of being human. We have been taught or we have learned that control feels like safety. If I can manage this, if I can anticipate it, if I can steer it, then maybe nothing will be hurt. That's what we think. But ironically, control doesn't actually create safety, it creates tension. Control asks our body to always stay braced against a world which is continuously moving. And as we know by now, the world, it's always moving. Life is always moving. So let me offer a gentle possibility. What if life isn't an opponent that you need to manage? What if it is not something you have to outsmart or defend against or keep under control? What if life is a movement and we are meant to join it? And this becomes a very different posture as against fighting against life. This is a very different posture because when we see life as something happening to us, we brace, we tighten, we try to predict, prevent, protect. But when we see life as something that's moving through us, the body responds differently. There's a subtle but powerful shift between asking, why is this happening to me? And instead of that, asking, what is this asking to move through me? The first question, why is this happening to me? This question feels personal. It contracts the chest, it pulls us into self blame, into self defense. The second question, what is this asking to move through me? It creates space. It doesn't assume punishment, it assumes movement. Instead of asking, how do I stop this? We begin asking, how do I participate in this? And participation doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean that you sit back and let life do whatever it wants. It simply means that you stop fighting reality long enough to see it clearly. You allow yourself the space to respond instead of resisting. There's a difference between bracing against the wave and learning how to ride it. Both of them involve movement, but only one of them preserve our energy. When we shift from opposition to participation, we are not giving up control. We are reclaiming something deeper, our ability to move with life instead of consistently pushing against it. And this shift, letting life happen through you, letting life pass through you, participating with life, that shift changes everything. Someone complained daily about the weather: too hot, too cold, too rainy. One day someone asked, "What would satisfy you?" And they replied, "Weather that does exactly what I want." And the other person laughed. You don't you don't need better weather. You need better gear to wear in the weather. Because very frankly, the weather is going to do what the weather wants to do. Control, the illusion of control. The need to control life. This is born out of fear. The need to control life is born out of fear. The fear that if we loosen our grip on life, everything will fall apart. But by now, you know that control doesn't create safety, it creates tension. When we try to hold back the tide, we are exhausting ourselves. When we move with it, we are conserving energy. We call this response flexibility, the ability to adapt in real time rather than cling to our expectations, rather than cling to our rigid expectations. And it's not giving up, it's softening enough to choose your response. So when we stop fighting reality, there's a shift in the nervous system. Our tension drops, our breath deepens, and our clarity returns. We move from survival mode into regulation. So surrendering to life so that we allow it to pass through us. That surrender is not collapse, it's alignment. Is the difference between being dragged by life and dancing with it. So I'll drop in a prompt if you are journaling or if you simply want to reflect on this. Where are you gripping life right now? Where are you holding life too tight? Don't try to fix, simply try to notice where are you gripping life too tight. We have these different areas of our life. We have our physical health, our relationship, our career, our community, our leisure, our spirituality. So, where are you gripping life right now? What are you trying to hold on to too tight? If you're journaling, take a moment to journal on the prompt. If you're reflecting, simply reflect on it. Once you've thought about that, where you're gripping life a little too tight, Think about what will happen if you soften your grip. Or rather, what are you afraid will happen if you soften that grip? Because we are holding tight for a reason, right? We are holding tight because we want to control something. We want to control a person, an outcome, a relationship. What happens if, or what do I fear will happen if I soften? Because it is the fear that is leading us to tighten that grip. You can think of life as a conversation. Can think of life as a conversation. When you shout your agenda over it, you miss what it's saying. But when you listen, really listen, you start to notice subtle cues, very subtle cues. You start to notice what feels alive, what feels forced, what's asking to end, what's asking to begin. You start to notice where you've been giving your time to, where you should be giving your time to, where you should not be giving your time to. You'll notice these subtle cues. Surrender isn't silence. Can think of surrender as deep listening, listening really, really deep. A short practice now, a short practice. Now, in the earlier prompt, the first prompt that I put out, where am I gripping life right now? Just just bring that thing or that situation to mind because we'll do a very short practice around that. Where am I gripping life right now? So bring to mind that thing that you're holding on to tightly. And at the same time now, place your hands into fists like this. Place your hands into tight fists. As tight as you can. Just for a few seconds. Put your hands into tight fists. And notice the tension now. Notice the tension in those fists. And now gently, slowly open them. And as you open them, notice the difference. As you open them, notice the difference. And now ask yourself, that same situation that you're holding on to tightly, what would it feel like to let that situation breathe? What would it feel like to let that situation breathe? And let your body answer. In silence, let your body answer. What would it feel like to let that situation breathe? We'll now go into a guided meditation. I've titled this meditation Moving with the Current. If it feels comfortable and if it is safe to do so, gently close your eyes and let your body settle in whatever way it wants to settle. You don't need to sit upright. You don't need to do this perfectly. Let your body settle in whatever way it wants to settle. Take a slow breath in through the nose and let it out slowly through the mouth. Once again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And notice if there's any bracing in the body, any tightening, any readiness, any subtle holding. Simply notice. And bring your attention to your hands. And without forcing anything, gently curl them into soft fists. Notice the tension in the fingers, the palms, the wrists. Notice how the whole body responds when it grips. Now slowly open the hands. Let the fingers soften. That small shift. That small shift is the difference between control and surrender. You don't have to force surrender. You simply stop clenching. Now imagine yourself standing in a slow moving river. A slow moving river, not a violent current, not chaos, just movement. Feel the water around your ankles, around your calves. Notice your instinct. Do you brace? Do you tighten? Do you lean backward? And that instinct isn't wrong. It learned to protect you. Now gently soften your knees. Let the current move around you without resisting it. You're not being dragged, you're being carried. And notice where in your life you've been trying to steer the river. Maybe it's a relationship, a career, an outcome, or a timeline. Where in your life have you been trying to steer the river? Imagine loosening your grip on the steering wheel, not abandoning direction, just softening the urgency. Feel what happens in your chest when you stop trying to control the entire flow. Does the breath deepen? Does the body soften even slightly? And now imagine the river isn't separate from you, it moves through you, it moves around you. Life flowing as sensation, as emotion, as change. You don't need to block it, you don't need to brace. You can let experience pass through you like water moving through open hands. You can let experience pass through you like water moving through open hands. Silently offer yourself these phrases, letting them land in the body. I don't have to fight this. I can move with what is. Life is not against me. Now imagine something mildly challenging, not overwhelming, just real. Notice the immediate reaction. Now imagine creating space around it, space in your breath, space in your chest, space before responding. This space is surrender, not giving up, choosing your participation instead of reacting, choosing your participation instead of reacting. Feel how powerful that is. Now let the imagery shift. Instead of standing in the river, imagine floating on your back, supported, carried. The sky above you, the water beneath you. Nothing to manage, nothing to outsmart, just trust. Feel how different floating is from fighting. Let your breath find that rhythm. Inhale, exhale, effortless. Now rest in this feeling, not the idea of surrender, the sensation of it. Soft jaw, loose shoulders, open hands, steady breath, and silently say, I trust the unfolding. I don't have to control everything. I can participate without resisting. Stay here and gently bring awareness back to your body. Bring awareness to the room around you, the temperature in the area that you are located in. Become aware of the surface that you are resting on. Take a slow breath in, let it go. Move your fingers, move your toes, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You are not separate from the current, you are part of it. And when you soften your grip, Life doesn't overpower you, it carries you. When you stop trying to control life, it doesn't collapse, it synchronizes. When you stop resisting change, you become what change was shaping all along. And surrender is not weakness, surrender is wisdom. So maybe today you don't need to fix anything. Maybe you just need to soften. Life isn't asking you to fight it, it's asking you to join it. And you are not separate from the current, you are part of it. Let life happen through you and watch how lighter you feel. Thank you for listening. This has been Everyday Paradoxes, tiny truths about becoming. Before you move on, you might sit quietly with these questions. What did I recognize in myself today? Where is this paradox quietly at work in my life? And what is one small shift I'm being invited toward? Becoming rarely announces itself. It unfolds in awareness, in small recognitions, in the gentle courage to see clearly. This series is based on my book Everyday Paradoxes, Tiny Truths About Becoming. It's a reflective guide meant to be read slowly, not for answers, but for insights that deepen with time. You'll find the reflection questions in the description along with details about the book. If this conversation resonated, you're welcome to like, share, or subscribe so these truths can reach others who may need them. Until next time, stay present, stay curious, and keep becoming.